And we're live. Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of the $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Papergoy.
And I'm Mrs. Papergoy.
And we have three wonderful guests with us today. Why don't you introduce yourselves? Not all at one time, though.
Sure. I'm Stuart with Franklin Hill Ventures, part of the Finders Flippers Resell podcast.
I'm Wes from the Slim Flippers and also part of the Finders Flippers Resell podcast.
And I am half of Frizzy's Finds, Johnny here, and the third trio of the Finders Flippers podcast.
Very good. And I don't know if you guys had anything to drink, but it being the Hump Day Happy Hour, salute. We had one of the worst shots I've ever had in my life. Pink Whitney. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Do not buy it. They are not a sponsor and probably never will be. Why don't you say hi to the couple of people coming in and we'll get going.
Click it, right?
Yeah. And hey-oh, it's Dawn Wright. And yep. Hello, Mike. Two more paid members. These guys must be famous. There you go. And I'm going to mention that in a minute. And Dave's Odds and Ends. Welcome in.
Hello.
And Antiquarian Bookman. And the part of Mr. Magazine tonight is played by Mrs. Papergoy. Quite the improvement if you ask me, but so we'll do the sale or do the show as we always do. Hello, Adrian. We'll start off with sales and we'll let Stuart start. We'll start in the top right and work our way down, at least on my screen. How have sales been for you, Stuart?
They've actually been pretty good the last, I guess, for this whole month. I'm definitely way up over last year's June. And I think mostly just related to the fact I've been putting a real focus on listing this month. You know, oddly enough, I found the more you list, the more you sell. I know that's a pretty novel idea, but so
you got to do like a 14-part video on that. That's I don't know about that.
Yeah, I've been cleaning the garage out, so it's like, you know, treasures in the garage that, you know, I think I remember buying this, 5 years ago.
And Wes?
I've hit the summer slowdown already, but I've really started focusing on how I am going through my death pile. I'm trying to get some stuff out of there. That's been my main focus here for about the last 3 or 4 weeks. I hit a slow part during basketball season, obviously. I didn't get a whole lot done, but now that I'm into it, I'm in the summer slowdown, but I'm trying to make the best of it with what I've got. I'm trying to list about 10, 15 items every day, and I'm going through my death pile.
And that's on a part-time basis.
It is.
Yep. And Johnny?
Wes, maybe if you listed your items and didn't wear them, you could sell them.
You got to wear Billy Joel. It's too good to pass up.
I'm fortunate enough to have a wife that is a full-time reseller, so she really keeps us afloat, and I just ride her coattails, I guess, on that. But we really made a commitment to start cross-listing this spring, and it's really paid off. It's paid off quite a bit. We're using a new Poshbot to share our closet and offers and all that comes with having to do Poshmark. So business is booming.
Wow. Nice. I'm going to say hi to a couple more people and then I'll tell you how my sales are because I know you're all waiting with bated breath for that. Hello, Michael.
Where am I?
You gotta click right there. There you go.
Sorry.
Hello, Don. She says hello. Summer slowdown. Okay, so Michael's hitting the summer slowdown right over there. Hello, Jeff. Welcome in. Jackass Retro. Aye, there you go. Sales are okay for Kelly, making it work. That's all you can ask for. I'm a picker. There you go. Let's see. A first step is admitting it. Heckle to slow sales when my listings are down too. Need to fix that. Yep, absolutely. Well, if you follow Stuart's theory, which I don't know. A Guten Tag from Artie Mike. And I saw that guy in the bottom right in the Chrysler commercial. It was weird. There you go. My sales are, you guys are going to use that at some point, I'm sure, too.
Yeah.
Ready stealing.
Writing that one down.
Mr. Hot Wheels, sales have picked up lately. My sales are decent, but it's a struggle to get there every day. A lot of times I'll wake up in other times, when you got a couple of quick sales right out the gate, it's just like a trickle all day long. And I end up getting with the numbers that I need or I want to get. but it's just every day you're looking going, am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? And that's the way it's kind of been lately for me, at least on eBay. Amazon's strong enough, and the other sites are doing okay as well. Hello, Flippin' Roo. And yeah, click on the next one. Yep. There you go. No say. Oh, now that's not good. No sales yesterday or today. Now promoted. Do you guys do promoted?
On eBay, I do.
eBay, yes.
Yep.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
everybody seems to do that.
6%.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
I've been sending out a lot of offers too now.
I definitely send out
accepting a lot of offers for sure.
Yeah, and I do a flat 5%. So, and that seems to work.
And I'm basically at 2%, which probably for a lot of the stuff that I sell, I really shouldn't be. I was just showing Stuart before the show, 1839 Almanac I just had sitting here. Probably not a lot of competition with that is what it comes down to. So I probably don't need to promote things like that. I just haven't found the time yet to sit there and prune the listings that I sit there and I use that on.
That's way too much thinking to figure out what needs. I just do 5% across the board, and I figured the time I spent thinking about what to promote it at, I can list 4 more things. So
Yeah, and most of ours we let sit for a little while. Like we'll promote we'll add our new promoted like once a month. So some of our stuff will sit for 2, 3, 4 weeks not being promoted. So hopefully it sells then. And then we'll promote and just push everything through. But the 6% kind of puts us in line with Poshmark. So it just keeps us in our head that really we're at like 20% fees.
Okay.
Do you do advertising on Poshmark as well, Johnny? Do you do
No.
the promote, whatever it's called, the promoted?
No,
content?
Lizzie did a lot of research on it, and a lot of the feedback and reviews she was reading and hearing was that it wasn't worth it. And plus they're already getting 20.
Yeah, I've been doing it for, I said I was going to try it for 35 days just to give it like a month. And I think I'm going to turn it off. It's hard. When I turn it off, I'll see if my sales go down. But, I'm like you, I use a Poshbot for sharing and sending offers and stuff. And I think I get more juice from the squeeze from that than I do from the promoted closet.
Yeah.
31 of my 65 items I sold last week on eBay were promoted. So we're running almost 50%. It had been down to about 33% the last couple of weeks before. So promoted seems to have been working. And last week, 121 offers I was able to send out were to old items, 247 total offers I was able to send out. The prior week was 243. Last year was only 141. So there might be some credence to Stuart's crazy idea that if you list more, you sell more. Because I went from 141 a year ago, and now that I'm full-time reselling, I was able to do 247. So kind of interesting there.
You say now that you're full-time reselling. When did you go full-time?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I retired on February 8th from 33 and a half years with the state.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. So there was a long countdown for about 2 years. There was a countdown, a number of weeks left.
Hey, David. So I know you're pretty consistent on Whatnot with your shows.
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel like you've grown your business on Whatnot? Are you treading water if you've gone down? I mean, this is speaking from somebody who very rarely goes live anymore, really maybe once a month as part of an event. So
I'm treading water, but I'm fine with that. As far as I think as I saw on your show, you had mentioned that there are a lot more sellers out there. There's a lot more competition. Yeah. So I'm happy with where I'm at. The secret, Wes, to selling on Whatnot is you got to pay cheap. If you pay $1 or under for items, you're going to do okay on that site. And given the paper items that I sell, that's pretty much the price that I pay all day long is $1 or under. You can make money doing that way. Mm-hmm. And you have pretty good sell through. I probably have 75% sell through over there, which I'm pretty happy with. You come home from the flea market with enough things to put up a show. You spent $25. You do a quick show, you sell most of it, you get $125 in your pocket. It doesn't take that long. Because I'm at this point running my items for about their 30-second auctions. So basically all in, if it's 45 items, it takes me 45 minutes to do the auction. So
how many people do you generally have come into your show?
Today I had consistent 15 during my magazine sale, and the magazine sales tend to be on the lower. Now, one thing that I'm going to experiment with, I've done a lot of, I have very, very odd hours. I get up at 2:30 in the morning, which apparently are odd hours. And when I go on and I look on Whatnot 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, there aren't very many shows, but pretty much every show is well attended. So I think there are people on there who want to be buying, or it's the West Coast people who haven't gone to bed yet.
Mm-hmm.
There are people on that want to be buying, but if there's nobody else selling at 5 o'clock in the morning, they're looking to buy anyway. So I'm thinking of doing a morning show at some point as well. Because who wouldn't want to hear, "Hey, how you doing?" first thing in the morning.
Hey, everybody, wake up! It's time to do Whatnot.
I see. Speaking of Whatnot, I see a couple of familiar names in the chat with Popeye's postcard.
I was going to say we're going to click on Popeye's next over here.
Yeah, he's kind of a bellwether for Whatnot. I mean, you know, if he.
And big news, I will be on Popeye's postcards tomorrow, 8 p.m. for his live show. So do definitely check that out. We did do that one. Yep. Bonds has weird sales.
But you're right, David, on Whatnot. I mean, the sell-through is the whole key. I mean, you can definitely get more on other platforms, but Ephemera is a good example. I mean, you can spend hours and hours listing individual items, you know, or you can lot it up and make a little less, but you motor through it a lot quicker.
Right. So, and as time goes on, I'm becoming much more. I was always the long dime. I'm becoming much more of the short nickel, much more, because now that I'm retired, Mrs. Papergoy can attest I'm buying way too much stuff. I had a house call yesterday. I had a house call today. I have a house call Friday. Got a dealer sell me books on Saturday. Another dealer wants to give me free books as soon as I can pick them up. When you're paying free, that helps you make some money on Whatnot.
Yeah.
Hey, Stir, he just answered what we were trying to come up with the other night: the long dime, the short nickel. we were trying to say that the other night. We got tongue tied trying to figure out what it was.
Yep. And then I did sell one item on $million.peddlers, one item on Vivs-Views, 6 items on Etsy, including one item that I had offered up for sale on Whatnot for $3. Everybody said, "Go jump in the lake." So I sold it for $20 over on Etsy. So it isn't exactly like I'm selling junk over there either. I mean, obviously, if I got $20 for it off of Etsy for a $3 start, it had value. Definitely did. Sales the same here for Mr. Hot Wheels, so he's got some crazy sales as well. How about buys? Are you guys buying anything?
I'm always buying stuff.
Never not buying.
I mean, and you know, I've been doing this long enough now, and maybe it's kind of like you. I mean, I usually get at least a phone call a week from somebody who's gotten my name from somebody else who has something they want me to come look at. You know, and usually it's, you know, my realm's vintage and antique. I mean, I do the ephemera and Whatnot, but really what I do mostly on other sites is a lot of china and collectibles and flatware and, you know, things nobody else to sell. So, so I get a lot of calls, and I'm constantly buying. And, you know, I mean, my wife and I have gone as far, you know, we've bought out whole houses before, and I almost bit off more than we can chew a couple of times. But so that's how I end up with bunches of stuff in my garage to go through, though.
Now, how about you, other than the Billy Joel t-shirt?
Just call me Billy. Yeah, I go to a lot of yard sales with my wife. We get out every weekend. We've been starting to get into estate sales as well now. I like going to estate sales. I didn't think I would, but it's, you know, if you hit it just right, if it's on, you know, half off day. We got into one last weekend, which was 75% off, and they still have some decent items still available because this place was packed. But I really like now going into the estate sales and finding things there as well.
Did you pick up any Beanie Babies last weekend, Wes?
I did not. No, but I still have 110 to sell. If you
bring them to me, I'll put them in the booth. They sell like hotcakes.
Well, and I'm actually, and I don't mean to cut you off, give you a chance to tell about if you bought anything as well, but I've been making notes, and I'm going to actually be doing a video for which you would be interested in, Wes, on how to best go to estate sales, because there are a lot of insider tricks and a lot of things to be looking for them. In a lot of ways, I mean, believe it or not, as I had mentioned last week on the show, I actually went to an estate sale first day, an hour after it opened, and the guy was doing bulk bundle because he had realized that I'm pretty much the only guy around here buying paper. Which he's like, I got a sucker on the line right over here. Might as well just unload everything on him rather than
sucker section's right over there.
More or less, yeah. They see me coming, but that's a whole nother story.
So you got the estate sale like me, David, on your hands and knees, like back in closets, like digging. I mean, I found so much stuff that they miss, and just a couple of weeks ago, I actually found 2 whole boxes of nothing but silver bullion. And I mean, the guy who runs it, I'm friends with him. I mean, or have gotten to know him. So, I mean, I knew he did not mean to miss that. So I took it to him and said, because I guess, somebody else might have buried it under some other stuff and said, how much for this box? But yeah, there's no telling how much that box of stuff was worth. But obviously he was very appreciative that I bought it to him. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff. I find so many cool things just rooting around in closets and behind things. And
so, David, your niche is the paper products. Is that what you're mainly after?
99.9% of the time, all I buy is paper, books, ephemera, magazines, things like that. Yep.
Okay.
And Johnny, what you been buying anything or no?
Yeah, we do predominantly clothing, so we don't do a lot of like bulk buys and things like that. But between myself and my wife, we're at a thrift store every day. We're fortunate enough to have a Goodwill bins in our town, so we're at the bins a couple times a week too.
Johnny likes to make runs to the bins during his lunch hour.
That's right.
I know
that's right.
He likes to video himself going in the store and not buying anything. I know.
That's right.
But that's kind of funny because I might go to the thrift 4 times a year just because it is so pointless for me, generally speaking, because the books have all been checked out by the Goodwill. They've checked them all out. They know what's good, not good. I mean, occasionally you might find an autographed book or something like that they missed. But with the paper items, good luck. You're hardly ever going to, it's not worth your time going to them. Ditto garage sales. So few garage sales actually would have anything that I'm looking for or anything in bulk that I'm looking for. I mean, sure, I could show up at a garage sale and buy 1 book, but I'm not going to drive around for 3 hours to buy 2 books. Not really worth it. She's having her own show over here. I don't know what she's doing.
Well, are you gonna read it?
Oh, I only do events now and whatnot. Flipping room. Okay, geez. I'm still doing well and whatnot. Not what I was doing last year, but still good. I need to get eBay back up to speed. Well, you can like and subscribe, Popeyes. You can come over to our premium site and get lots of insider tips, along with Stuart's crazy tip about listing more. Puddings, my sales are down, not as bad as last week, but I'm still trailing last June by 30%, and I'm down 30% from May. Ouch. Keep clicking here. Buying too much, but the deals are there. Absolutely. And the other thing you need to remember too, with buying too much, is we're hitting into July 4th. You're not going to be buying anything July 4th. Nobody's going to have you in your house then. People are going out of town. People are going to be going out of town over the summer. And then, you start getting into basically anytime after Thanksgiving, good luck buying stuff, at least for me, with the paper stuff. Nobody wants me in their house to look at stuff. Nobody, there's no flea markets. There's none of that stuff around here. No buys for Dawn. Nice. So with my buys, an item here or there at estate sales, library sales, church sales. I went to all those last week. So I ended up, buying a few things as well. Went to a house call yesterday. Unfortunately, the lady was going into assisted living, but she was an artist. So she had I bought a box of books on, Rodin and Michelangelo and probably some good artists too. Plus a book on how to do watercolor and all that stuff also. So bought that, and I got into a house today of a lady who was 93. Her husband was 96 and just passed, and he was a Lutheran minister. And she had lots and lots of books she wanted to sell. So I ended up filling up 5 boxes worth of books over there, including a 1750s Lutheran book, which has got really, really nice illustrations in it. Really nice illustrations. But a lot of stuff going over to whatnot out of that as well, because I paid about $1 a book overall is about what I paid on it. So I can sell the stuff, most of the stuff over on whatnot. Not the 1750 book. I probably keep that.
We did a lot. We used to do a ton of whatnot originally, a couple of years ago. And then, our shows were just dropping off a little bit more at a time and over time. And that's why this year we really went into cross listing just to get our stuff visible on more platforms. And I guess if there's anything between a nickel and a dime, that's kind of what we're going for. And just we've been able to, because there was a point like a year and a half ago where Whatnot was our number one platform. We did more on Whatnot than we were doing on eBay. I would do a lot of hat shows and we'd make $300-400 a show. And then a year later, they were like $60 a show. So we and then we found ourselves sourcing to do shows. And then we were getting stress because you're like, I need stuff to do a show tomorrow morning. And then you didn't have it, or just whatever it was. So I think it's something that we would like to have up and running, on all cylinders, but it got stressful.
Well, I know Stuart came to my show yesterday, the ephemera show, and I did $118, $122, something other like that on it. But what I did after the show is I added up the things that I sold, what I paid for them. And there were a few items that I actually paid up on. I paid $2.50 on. Oh boy, really stepping it up. And I total paid $22 for the things that I sold for $120. So, and that was a high cost of goods compared to what I usually do. Usually I'd be, I've done shows where I did $150 and I paid $12 for the stuff. So really buying cheap and bulk buys is absolutely the way to make it on Whatnot. You definitely can do it. Now, I don't know with what you sell, Wes, I don't know if you have that opportunity to buy things like that.
I could.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So all of yours, is it dollar starts that you do?
$3 starts.
$3 starts.
Yeah. If you started at $3 and you paid $1, you can actually make something.
Don't start anything for $1 on Whatnot, Wes.
Well, I'm not starting anything because
you're already in the hole. I mean, do you think, David? I mean, my observation's been the number of sellers on Whatnot has drastically increased, but the quality of sellers has gone down. I know when I joined Whatnot 3.5 years ago, I mean, it was really tough to get accepted. I mean, I had to send all kind of videos of my inventory and prove that I had enough to sustain so long of selling. And I mean, there's people in there now that look like they've never sold anywhere else in their life.
I think he's talking about you, David. I'm not sure.
No, David's the OG. David's one of the OGs on Whatnot as well. So,
no, you're right. But it's like anything else. I always welcome the competition, and the reason why is a couple of reasons why. Number one, when you're selling the ephemera or book category, I mean, when I'm selling books that I got out of a preacher's house from the 1890s. I'm not selling nothing against them, but I'm not selling the latest Patterson book or Harry Potter books. That isn't what I tend to sell. So I don't really have to worry much about competition because they're not going to have what I have.
Yeah.
And the flip side of that as well is as long as you don't go to enough bad shows that you get turned off to the app, when you come across somebody who actually knows what they're doing and is professional, you're going to say, wow, there is somebody on this app that knows what they're doing. They sell what they say they're going to sell. They actually get through the product. And you're going to gravitate toward that. And you might stop by the new sellers from time to time and see what's going on. But I think it helps the old established sellers, honestly, because the more people that come to the app, the more it is for everybody. The better it is for everybody.
Well, the good thing, at least it appears in the ephemera category that even though there's more sellers, the quality stayed pretty high. At least when you count ephemera where it used to be in the hierarchy of Whatnot. It's weird where they stuck it now and all the different types of what are not even really ephemera that get sold under that category now. But it's all the ephemera shows I've gone to, even people I haven't heard of, have been really good. So,
well, and I think that might be because ephemera is such a niche.
Yeah,
even to know what the word means you got some level of selling skills as far as that goes. Like, oh, I know what that word means. I can sell there, as opposed to everybody knows what a book is and everybody can get books.
Mm-hmm.
So David, are you saying I should cancel my Nicholas Sparks book show that I have for next week?
It's good for you.
So David, let me ask you this. It's a twofold question. Why should I sell on Whatnot and why should I not sell on Whatnot?
You will not be successful on Whatnot. All right. Like and subscribe. We'll see. Oh, no, you will not be successful on Whatnot if you worry about every item. If you sit there and you say, that was worth $20, I know I could get it there and it sold for $8. What am I doing? What am I doing? You will not be successful. Take a look rather in toto, that, hey, yeah, I only got $7 for that, where I could have gotten 20 at some point on eBay. But wait, that sold for $6. And I've got one that's been sitting on eBay for 9 years. I'm happy to get the 6 out of it. So if you look at it overall, I think you'll be very successful. Too many people, again, as Stuart said, you do not get top price out of it. You do not. I know I've talked with Mr. Buys a lot, and he said he gets about 50 to 60% is about what he gets. I'd say you get about 40 to 50 is what I think you end up getting out of stuff overall. But if I can get 40% and flip it in a week versus 100%, and I've got stuff sitting in my eBay store from 2008. So yeah, I certainly at this point would take a 40% offer on it just to move it on eBay. So
well, I've talked to some people though. That just say they don't have the audience, and they go in there and they have 1, 2, 3 people in their sale the entire time, and that's just basically pushed them out of it because they don't even want to bother with it. So how do you manage that? How do you get people to come in to your show?
At this point, I've got regulars. When you first start, you'll probably be in that same situation. But I think the best advice I could give you is preload an auction and have your next auction scheduled and preload it. Like, let's say that you left this today and you said, I love that pep talk Paperboy gave me. I am going to go on Whatnot. I would schedule my show for July 10th. That way you're far enough out that it gives you time to get it up. That's a whole nother thing. Sorry, they've pills for that now. You have time to get your show up, but you also then could have your July 17th show up as well, and maybe a 24th show by the time that comes around. And then when the 10th show comes, you may not have a lot of people in there, but you may find that you had 5 people pre-bid on the items. So you've got 5 guaranteed sales. And then the biggest thing is to greet everybody that comes in. And when they're there, find out what it is that they like. And if you like, I've got one person that will always buy Kennedy stuff. So I always make sure I buy anything I see out there, Kennedy, if I can get it for $1 or less, because they inevitably will buy it off me in my shows. They keep coming back to every show because they know I keep having Kennedy stuff. So you walk in and I'm like, hey, I got a Billy Joel book coming up in 2 weeks at my show. You got to bid on it. And then you'll check it out and you'll bid on it. So that's what you got to do, is you got to learn your regulars and you just build a clientele that way. Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and I think people who've been successful, like Paperboy there. It is slow to start, but I think if you try to run shows consistently at the same time every week, and just know you're not going to do that great at first. These are all things I don't do. So, I'm not practicing what I preach, but the people I've seen that are successful, their own, every Thursday night at 8:00 doing ephemera or whatever. So, and there's, for as much, I guess, as you hear about Whatnot being down, there's still a ton of people who just kill it on Whatnot. And there's a few people, there's some who brought their audience from YouTube or did this, but I know there's some pretty successful people who just organically started on Whatnot and grew it just, through hard work and being on all the time. So it can be done.
Hello, David. Welcome in. Okay, you can click. Yep. I found a site, Crunchbase, that reports on website traffic. Whatnot's traffic is down 42%. Ooh, that's because you're holding fewer shows, Popeyes. Stuart, we were running a regular night and time, but we were not must-see TV yet on trains. We do very well. It was frustrating and didn't think weekly was worth the time anymore. And that's another thing, Wes, is you do want to get involved in the trains. Definitely you would want to do that. Mm-hmm. It's a great way to introduce other people to you. In the only thing, and you probably have noticed this as well, Stuart, you probably watched my show, or you have watched my shows. I've got a distinct way of selling things, where I move very, very quickly and, all business on things. It's interesting to watch other sellers, and I don't want to denigrate anybody's way of selling, but I'm going to say this: when you are in a 1-hour train, you have 1 hour to sell, and you're 6 minutes in and you haven't even brought your first item up yet, I'm not sure how that business plan works, but
Yeah, if you're in a 1 hour show and if you're not out of breath by the end of that hour, then, I mean, and the
I
30
think
minute
you gotta
shows are
be.
even worse.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, 30-minute shows personally for me, I mean, I'll still do them as part of an event, but they're almost not worth the time you prepare for it for, you know, by the time you say your first couple of words, I mean, your time's almost
show's
up.
over. I had a 20-minute train the other week. So shortest one I'd ever been on, but I got 20 items sold in 20 minutes. So can't argue with that.
It's like a bullet train there.
Yeah, that's good.
Glitch of the week. Well, Whatnot keeps changing categories back and forth. It was happening when I was putting items up for auction and it kept freezing. And then I went back in and all of a sudden the books category was off on its own again, instead of being under and Whatnot. So I still think they might have two servers, and sometimes it hits one and sometimes it hits the other. I made an Etsy sale and somebody got 10% off using the promo code Thanksgiving, which I've not used since November. So I'm not exactly sure where that was hanging out at, but they must have found it like Stuart. They were down on their knees looking in the back corner of my Etsy store and they found that with the 10% off on it.
Was it something you made by hand?
No. It was some crappy book. And then there was what happened over here? Then eBay had a big glitch on it where it ended up costing me money. Somebody made me 5 or 6 offers, added up to $172, but I couldn't accept any of the offers. It said we can't accept that, or you can't do that action now. I was able to counter offer them, so I countered them with the same exact offers, and I never accepted the counter offer. So I don't know what was up with eBay, but they cost me $172, and I'll be sending them a bill any day now. Wow, thank you, Eric. 3 pros and paper guy. Thank you. So one of the things you'll learn when you get bigger, you get a lot of respect from your audience, obviously. Estate sales aren't even a thing up there. Everything is auctions. See, with online auctions, I'm not a fan of, Don. I'll tell you, the in-person auctions are the best. Those are absolutely the best, except as Stuart will tell you, you end up buying a lot of things you didn't know you wanted because you're sitting there and the prices are so low. You go, that's a great deal.
Of course, it's not as big an issue anymore because at least here where I am in Knoxville, pretty much once COVID hit, all the auction houses went online only and never went back because I get it. They figured out, hey, you know, we make more money when we don't have to pay an auctioneer or runners. And, you know, our audience is not a room of 100 people. It's the internet. And, you know, but I used to source so much through auctions, and, you know, it was one of those I definitely had to pivot after COVID to figure out new sourcing strategies.
Well, what's your death pile?
Who, mine?
Yeah.
Well, I like to call them money mountains. I'll try to put a positive spin on it, but you know, actually, it's not too bad right now. I mean, we've made a concerted effort, and I say we, my wife and I mean, most of it's been me, but she's helped quite a bit.
Well, that's why you're employee of the month.
Left side of the garage cleaned out, and I've actually got it where I can put current stuff over there, and I've been doing really good about just going through like the last weekend stuff, and now I'm working on the right side of the garage. And I mean, a lot of that's from where I'd mentioned I'd cleaned out whole houses before. You know, it's stuff left over from 2 houses primarily, you know, where you get it and you pull out all the good stuff, and then you got the stuff left that doesn't seem so good. Although going back through it a second time, I've found a lot of stuff that, you know, I'm like, why did I not list this, you know, 4 years ago? So
well, I'm sitting at 75,000 or so unlisted items. So yeah, I'm not too worried about being able to source. In fact, Mrs. Paperboy wishes I didn't source.
Well, you said you're retired now, so you got more time to attack that death pile, right?
In theory.
In theory.
but, you know, I mean, and you kind of touched on it, David. I mean, death piles, money mountains, whatever you want to call them. I mean, it's not always a negative because you never know when something like COVID's going to hit, or just, I mean, when you can't source. And it's good to have you know, at least some backlog. Now, obviously, if you just keep bringing stuff in and never list, that's an issue. But I think as long as you're making a concerted effort to list something, you know, it's not always bad to have extra inventory around. least that's how I justify it in my mind. So.
That works for me. And Whatnot actually did just make a change today. They now, when you list an item up for auction, it's all on one page. You don't have, it's not the second page where you put the price and the weight in. Now it's a one page, and they have a quick list as well. The only problem with the quick list is you can't put a photo up. I think that's for the people that want to do, items 1 through 100 as opposed to putting each individual item up. We're going to head on into item of the week, and although it isn't a typewriter,
hey, David, one last question on. I know we've beat Whatnot to death, but do you do any buy it now stuff on Whatnot? I mean, do you
I should. I do not. Nope. And I really should.
I've actually made like Johnny cross post. I've started cross posting all my stuff to the Whatnot buy it now, and I mean, I sell enough, on there to make that worth it. I was just curious if you'd had any experience with that. So
that was my 2023 New Year's resolution. We're a little backed up. The item of the week, it's not a typewriter, but this is my version of a typewriter. And I only bring that up because I know how much Johnny loves typewriters. So I was at a church sale this week and got something or other over here that I paid $3 for. That's a big bottle.
Oh, is that what you did a shot of before the show?
I think it would have tasted better. Benline expectorant, $3 bottle. Costs $3 at the church sale. Comps on it, believe it or not, there's one listed on eBay for $70. So I figured for $3, I might as well buy it. Now, of course, I have the problem that I'm actually going to have to list it at some point. I'm going to have to actually figure out how to sell or ship something or other like this, which is totally outside of what I sell. But again, it's
Stuart would tell you to put it in a poly bag and it'll go just fine.
Yeah, just throw that in a poly bag, drop that in the mail, you'll be good.
Do I even need a poly bag, or can I just put the label over this one?
Just put it right over top.
Yeah, right on there. No problems at all.
I only tell y'all that to try to get my competition out of the way.
But yeah, Park Davis and Company. I don't know the age on it. I didn't do a lot of research on it, but I saw it. But again, this is where phones get you in trouble at sales, because I probably shouldn't really have bought this, but at that price, how do I not? And obviously it's a large size bottle as well. Don't know if it gives the size. It also had chloroform in it, which is your daily supply of chloroform is right here in this. Trains are jumping the shark for Memphis Blazer. Oh, that's what happened. Yep, Dawn said everybody went on online auctions. Anyone? We're not political, Eric. Mrs. Papergoy indeed was biting her tongue about the sourcing. Yeah, she's a big fan of my sourcing. Oh, hello, Gravity Goods came in too. The best place to buy booze is a church. There you go. John, I do the bag jokes. I did not expectorant that. Is Benylin not sold in the U.S.? Well, obviously that's an old bottle, so I have no idea. Yet I'm sure she can go with a lot of reasons not to purchase inventory. Many, many reasons. Insulting offer of the week, Mr. Magazine had a 1923 Vogue magazine that he was asking $168 on. He got a $30 offer. And he had a Jessica Biel signed photo for $30. He got offered $10. How do you guys handle insulting offers?
I either just ignore them or counter with something. I mean, I don't ever... Like if I get a really low ball offer, I almost always counter it where I would like to take it. And then I've sold stuff that way. I mean, sometimes they'll counter back with another low ball offer. And at that point, I just ignore them. I have started putting minimum offers on all my eBay listings just to weed that stuff out. So
that's what I do. I put minimum offers down, and I'm like Stuart. I counter every single time.
Even if it's absolutely ridiculous. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Even if it's absolutely ridiculous, because I had that Abraham Lincoln, Matthew Brady in the Harper's Weekly. I was asking $440, and the guy offered me $40. I mean, there's no way we're going to meet anywhere. Right? It's just not happening.
Well, your counter offer is like your bottom dollar, right? I mean, it's for me. That's what I put out, and I'm like, that's where I'm at, and then I'm done talking at that point.
I think I should have probably countered them. A lot of times what I'll do on somebody like that is I would counter them. I think I was asking $443 and he offered $40. I would counter him at $440 and say, oh, you forgot a $4. Go ahead, John. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good. I honestly, I think it depends on the day and what the item is, right? Like if I have something that's $100 and somebody offers 20 and I'm feeling a little snarky that day, I'll probably counter at 99. But if it's like, hey, it's 6 o'clock at night and we haven't had a sale yet, and this thing's been sitting for 9 months, maybe I'll come up a little, just take it and get one on the board. So I think a lot of it just depends. We started when we first started, we took them all personally, right? Like, how can you send me a $5 offer on something that's $70? Like, forget you. And now, like I said, it just depends on the day. I mean, if that $70 item's been sitting for a while and you'll take 30 to get rid of it, we'll low counter it just to hope they take it.
Well, you actually said something that's never been said on the show before, something interesting. You had mentioned that it was, if it had been sitting there for 9 months, what is what is an old item? I'm going to start with you and work back around. What is an old item? What is a long time for something to be sitting on eBay or Poshmark for you?
Yeah, I think if we're pushing that 9 month kind of ballpark, it's got to go. I mean, again, we're doing mostly clothes. So if we miss a season, we're holding it, right? Like if I have a parka jacket that didn't sell in January, that parka jacket is not coming back around till November. And I know there's international shipping and people go on vacation and all those things, but chances are it's not moving. So in that clothing world, we try to move it because also the next season comes and that might not be the style anymore. And then you got 30 pairs of skinny jeans in a box in your garage that just aren't going anywhere for 10 years.
But I've still got my members only jacket from 1986. So
yeah, we can't move those, cool. But they're coming back.
It'll swing back around eventually. Hang on.
And US?
Mine are clothes that I don't really buy clothes anymore. It's just stuff like Johnny said, I hang on to, like jackets and stuff that are out of season. That's where mine are, the long tooth things. I just I hang on to those. I got shoes, and I don't source for shoes or clothes anymore. So the pile, whatever I have left in my pile is going out, and that's it. I'm not getting any more of that stuff.
Hey, Wes, where'd you get that shirt?
This shirt, well, this was more for me, see, as it's on me. You see what I'm saying?
And you, Stuart?
Well, let's see. I've been on eBay since 1998, so I don't think I have anything going back that far, but I do have some really old stuff. I mean, just with the kind of stuff I sell, I mean, there's a lot of really long tail items with china and, glassware and things of that nature. I'm guessing I probably have some items going back to probably 2017 out there
and that's crazy because I've probably got, I make offers to people on 5 to 7 items a week that have been listed since 2008. Yeah. I mean, we're talking 9 months for me is, just swaddling is just brand new. 9 months has only been on 9 months. I'm not going to take a low offer on that. It's brand new.
I mean, it's funny when I started cross posting and I made a concerted effort to get everything from eBay to the other 4 or 5 platforms I sell on. It's amazing how much stuff that I sold on other platforms that, I'd had on eBay a while. And, and I'm not a big D-list, relist kind of guy. I don't really do a lot of that. Occasionally I will. You read different things on that. I know some people swear by it. Others say that, it really doesn't play into the algorithm at all. But I tend to just leave it sitting out there and focus more on getting new stuff out there. Yep. So
that's kind of the way I look at it. List it and forget it. The us old schoolers are list it and forget it.
I swear by it.
Counters because sometimes low ballers are just taking a shot. That's true too. So I was selling a book called 14 Holy Helpers Historical Sketch Booklet, which is one of those small, it's a small book that will tell you all about various saints. The person said, is this blank or does it have drawings in it? So apparently they saw sketch booklet and they thought it was a sketchbook. No, you're not going to want to buy this. I don't sell art material. Mr. Magazine had a guy buy a box of Donruss trading cards, said there's nothing good and he's returning it. He opened the entire box and said, no, I don't want it. Now he's returning. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's one of the problems with selling sports cards. So I told him definitely contact eBay because obviously it's not being returned in the same shape that was sent out in.
I wonder what did he say what year they were?
I think it was one of the junk wax years. I think it was 90 or something other like that. But he said there weren't any stars and blah, 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 which again, I told Mr. Magazine, I guarantee what he gets set back will have no stars in it. Mr. Magazine had a gentleman buy a honky tonk man wrestling figure. Then he got an email from the person, I'm sorry for the inconvenience. I can't purchase this. I had an unexpected car accident and can't afford this. As opposed to the expected car accident.
The expected, yes.
And then I had a drafting toolkit up for sale. The person said, can it still be used? I said, honest with you, I don't have any idea how to use it. If it can be used, it's what it is. I don't deal in these things. He goes, okay. Oh, pleased to meet you. Hi, good to meet you too. So you never know on these people over here. And you do see a couple of people there that do have the special little stars after them. And Dawn Wright, in fact, was the first member. The membership is now live, and I have 22 exclusive videos up behind the paywall. Some really interesting deep dive stuff into various things, some insider tips and all that. So if you have $6.99 burning a hole in your pocket, you can either get a small or whatever they call it, not grande, whatever they call the small coffees over at Starbucks, or you can get entertainment and 22 videos. So come on by and check those out. I think they're really, really good over there. I'll turn my page over today. Here's an interesting one that I had. So I was at a church sale, and I want to know what you guys would have done on this. 12 plus years on Popeye, so he's another long tail guy. So I went to a church sale, and they had, I'm going to say 10 to 12, I'm going to call them receivers because I don't know what the heck they were. I'm going to say 1950s and 60s receivers. I'm trying to think of a brand. I don't even know the brands of them there. Luckily, they weren't priced. And I say luckily because I did comp one of them, and it's like $50 to $75 for one of them. Now, of course, I don't know if they work or not. I don't deal in those things. I did not ask what they cost because what would have happened if the 10 or 12 of them, they said, nobody wants those. Give us $50, get them all out of here. Then I would have a lot of typewriters sitting over here as far as that goes. And we'll start with you, Stuart. What do you do in cases like that? I mean, let's just say that they set a ridiculously low offer on it. Say they said $50 on them. I mean, you can't help but make money on them.
I'm usually one of those, I'll just do it and then figure it out later. I mean, I'm kind of a jump, both feet in the pool kind of guy. And I've done that a lot, with cleaning out houses. Yeah, we'll do it. And then you don't realize how much stuff there is to get out that you've agreed to get, like everything out, not just stuff you want. And so, yeah, I would probably have done it. And then, like you said, you're out $50, worst case scenario. But chances are you're going to make a lot of money on a deal like that. So.
And that's the thing about it. You can't leave it on the table. You got to go ahead and just, pay those $50 and take a shot at it. I'm going to go ahead and answer Dawn. Yes, I am from Tennessee, Dawn. She had a question up a second ago, so I'll answer her.
And Johnny?
So I am sitting at my dining room table looking at 1,000 movie posters from the 1990s. Some are vinyl banners, some are double-sided theater quality. I mean, great stuff. Saw it on Facebook Marketplace, said, what the hell, this is going to be great. And went through it all, had a lot of fun going through it, listed enough to get my $500 back, have made my $500 back, no less, no more. And I have about 975 movie posters that have been sitting in my living room for 2 years.
Why don't you relot them back out on Facebook Marketplace? That would be
because I just, Stuart, I just want them gone.
I don't need to put them up behind you and say the poster of the week. Look behind me, folks. Let's get them. Let's get them. and there were also like cardboard advertisements.
Yeah.
And so I actually took a whole thing of them to the dump, which I felt really bad on, but my house was starting to smell like cardboard, so it had to go. And I have one Aladdin one that 2 years ago a guy offered $20 for, and I was like, no way, I can get more than that. I have an Aladdin cardboard cutout in my living room. that I wish that I would pay someone $20 to get rid of, but there it is. So, sometimes you just do things.
I don't know if you saw this or not. There's a 14th century Hebrew Bible going up for sale at Sotheby's. They expect to go for $5 million. So be nice to find one of those in a house call. I hit 24,000 items on eBay. So to me.
Nice.
To me. And Mr. Magazine just started doing promoted listings again, which he hadn't been doing. His listing impressions are up 63.3% since he started doing that, but his listing page views are only up 4.3%. So his items are being seen by a lot of people and promptly ignored. So take that as you want. And that's just a regular promoted listings, no special one over there. Did you see, speaking of Bibles, Elvis's personal Bible went for $150,000. That would have probably could have sold that down in Tennessee.
For sure.
Yeah. Answering intern Eric's comment on the screen, that's just a normal yard sale here in Tennessee. So.
Yeah. That's every day.
I think Eric is using stereotypes, and those are bad.
Yeah.
These people probably think everybody up here in New York is a fast talker too.
Well, after the show, Stuart and I are going to pick and grin a little bit. So, Stuart, go ahead and get the banjo ready, my friend.
Are you going to dueling banjos?
Yeah, we're going to do dueling banjo.
David, what part of New York are you in?
Upstate Rochester.
I'm a Buffalo guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're just an hour down the road from us. Yep.
But I did what most people do. They leave.
Like the Goo Goo Dolls.
That's right.
Where are you at now?
North Carolina. I went to Florida, and I'm a halfback now. So,
David, are you a Bills fan too, like Johnny?
Oh God, I hate the Bills. I grew up in Cleveland, so I was a huge Browns fan, and then I went to college up here, and everybody up here was a Bills fan, and I said,
yeah.
How could you possibly like any team other than the Browns?
Well, you're gonna love me. I'm a Steelers fan. So
oh God. All right, well, it was nice to interview.
Oh, look at the time. I do have to sign off early.
West fades away.
A couple of other quick things. eBay is apologizing now. Believe it or not, they've made it too difficult, according to e-commerce bites, to remove feedbacks, and they're going to try to find a happy medium on that. There for a while there, they would remove feedbacks pretty much for if you asked nicely and there was any kind of a reason. Now they won't remove them at all. And I had mentioned a couple of shows ago, I have free returns, and I got a negative feedback, which I know Stuart loves negative feedbacks. I got a negative feedback that said, I didn't want this. Like, okay, I have free returns. You can easily remedy that. And I contacted them and they wouldn't remove it. And Mr. Magazine had a case earlier this week where somebody actually did feedback extortion on him. And he tried to get him to remove it. And they said, nope, it doesn't meet the criteria to be removed. So apparently don't tell the buyers this, but they can do feedback extortion now, apparently.
Yeah.
So
I feel really bad. I feel like every time I go to the messages, the eBay for business, I feel like I get Lori every time. And I think at this point I've mocked her entire family for not removing feedback. So hopefully she'll get a break.
And then eBay has actually stopped another thing that they were trying, which I don't know if you guys heard about or not, but where if somebody wanted to cancel an order for because they found a better price, they would give the seller the opportunity to price match. And they have done away with that. That was in beta testing, and they've done away with that. I guess they didn't like the results of that. Yeah. Because again, we said on the show, if you buy something, why not cancel every single thing for better price? Worst case scenario, you just rebuy it. In best case scenario, the seller chops a couple of bucks off. There's no downside to it. Well, for a buyer, there's no downside. For a seller, there's plenty of downside. All right, we're going to head on into, why don't you tell us a little bit about your channel and what it's all about?
Go ahead, Wes.
Yeah, don't all shill at once.
Well, we're the Finders Flippers Resell podcast. We've been at it about 9 or 10 months. We're coming up on a year, but we went on a hiatus because of me in the wintertime, because I'm a high school and college basketball official. So it got kind of tough for me to get the nights and get everything lined up. So
I heard you were a diva. That's what I heard, and you were holding out for more money.
I wouldn't say that. But we've come together. I met Johnny. He was one of my first podcast episodes on my Slim Flippers channel that I do podcast on there as well. And I had Johnny on there 2 or 3 times, and we just started thinking, you know what, we need to get together because we seem like-minded anyway. But then I got with Stuart. Now, the funny thing about Stuart and I, we probably live about 15 miles from each other, and we've never actually met each other. But he came on my show as well on the Slim Flippers, and that's how it's got started in that fashion.
Yeah, Wes and I went to rival high schools, but did not know it back in the day. So,
So we got started because Wes slid into our DMs. So that's, you never know what happens when you do that.
And what do you guys, I mean, I definitely enjoy the channel, and I hope everybody watching this does check it out. We do have the link down below, and it's free, unlike some people like me that are trying to charge money for channels. Their channel's free. What are you guys trying to get across? What do you guys focus on? I mean, you seem to have a lot of fun doing it, and I think that's kind of the key.
yeah, and I think that would be the main focus. I don't know that we have any real long-term goals as far as at least we haven't talked about it. I think the goals right now is, we enjoy coming on and getting together, and we do have a good time. I hope it comes across in the podcast.
Definitely does.
We're definitely in the infancy stage. As Wes said, we've been on about a year, which I think equates to was 18 the last episode you put out today?
The one that went up today was episode 18. Yes.
Yeah. So, and you can divide it. We had kind of the pre-break, which was last year, and those don't even really resemble the same format that we came back with. And, now we have a fancy logo, and we changed our name so that people could find us. We tried to get kind of cutesy with the original name. It was like Finders, Flippers with some Y's and Z's. And
we thought we were the Leonard Skinner.
Yeah, we were trying to be like the Leonard Skinner of the podcast world. And really what that equaled was that nobody could find us on YouTube. You could try to find Finders, Flippers, and you'd get videos about Flipper the Dolphin and all kind of other things. And so, we just, now it's Finders, Flippers, Resell Podcast, spelled just like it sounds. And I think, we're a young podcast, but I think we're definitely feel like we're growing, and we're having a great time doing it.
When do you, as an old professional, when do you drop new episodes?
Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday. Okay. Yep.
Every Wednesday, we drop a new one.
Yeah, you got to say drop.
It's really old computer.
What was that, Stuart? I'm sorry.
As long as Wes's really old computer doesn't lock up.
Yeah, when my computer cooperates with me. But we like to take a lot of jabs at Stuart. He takes it well. If you notice in the first minute of our podcast, we get on him pretty good.
He's employee of the month.
Johnny's idea, though. It's Johnny's.
He's sitting pretty. There's employee of the month. No, I hope everybody does check them out. Like I said, it is a fun show, and I'll be completely honest. I watched one of the shows, and I have 3 ideas that I've stolen from it that I'm going to do videos off of. So they're giving me content as well, which I absolutely love. Of course, I won't give them any credit when I put the shows down. They'll say, "Hey, he stole that from us." But hey, what are you going to do?
But we thought you were trying to make money.
But no, it was really interesting to watch, and it was really a lot of fun to watch the shows, and I do wish you guys well on that. Anything else you guys want to plug? I know Wes has got that upcoming Whatnot show, July 17th, I think we said.
Yes, stay tuned, everybody. Stay tuned.
Yeah, if you want to follow me on any of my social media adventures, you can just go to franklинhillventures.com, all one word, and that has links to all my applicable social media sites, mainly Instagram and Facebook. I don't do a lot of YouTube outside the podcast, but So,
And I'm also on YouTube on the Slim Flippers podcast as well. You can find me there. I interview other people on that platform as well as the Finders Flippers Resell podcast.
And my wife and I, we have Frizzy's Finds. We just dropped a video today too. So if you guys are real
Nice.
bored, check it out. But we've been doing that for about a year now.
Nice. All right, and I want to say something. I first became aware of Stuart because of Whatnot, as a matter of fact, Franklin Hill Ventures and all that. And I don't mean any disrespect to myself, but Stuart always seemed like an adult as far as things go. He seemed to be professional, and he was doing everything. And here I am running around like my hair is on fire in my shows, and I'm like, geez, I hope Dad doesn't get mad at me the way I'm running my show. So he always, he's got a good sense of humor on everything there, but he always seemed like the adult compared to the way that I was running my show. So maybe sometimes I should run my shows the way you run yours. I don't know.
That's why we give him such a hard time. He's kind of like the dad of the show.
I am the senior member, so
He is the employee of the month too, as well. So
He's got that going for him too. We're going to head on over to Ramblin' Story of the Week real quick. This past week, I went with a friend of mine over to the Rochester Beer Expo. 5 o'clock, you could get in if you paid for the VIP ticket, which of course, me being VIP and all. And they actually were nice. They let us in at 4:45, so an extra 15 minutes of drinking. One of the problems was they didn't tell any of the exhibitors. So they were sprinting back to their table going, what is everybody coming in? They're not supposed to be here for 15 more minutes. And they're having to run back to their table. So it's an hour of drinking for the VIP. And then they let the riffraff in, as we like to call them, at 6 o'clock. And it's over at 10 o'clock. Unlimited pours, which, so $75 for unlimited pours. And that's a lot of fun. But there was one place that had, last year, they had a beer, and I don't know if you guys drink beer or not, but it was shrimp based, which is about as good as you think that a shrimp beer would be.
I have had an Old Bay beer before that was pretty good.
I will say the shrimp beer I had was the best shrimp beer I've ever had. I can go out on a limb and say that. This year they had, the same place did a pudding beer, and you want to talk about a grossly thick beer. I mean,
it was like pudding consistency.
It was almost as viscous as pudding. It was really, really thick and nasty as far as that goes. And of course, that was one of the places because they give you a 4-ounce glass, maybe an 8-ounce glass, and some people will do like a 2-inch pour. That person, of course, did like a 7-inch pour on me, or 7-ounce pour. So I've got an entire thing like this. Trying to pour it out, and you're going.
Yeah, I guess the craziest beer we have around here at one of the local breweries, they have a pickle beer. So
how is it?
Actually, not terrible if you like pickles, I guess. I mean, it's not anything I would drink. I mean, I drank it once to see what it tasted like. It wasn't terrible. I'm not going to drink it again, though.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Do hit the like button if you haven't already. And again, thank you, Mrs. Paper Guy, for being here. I want to thank our guests. Definitely do show them some love and go over to their channel. The link is down below, and Dawn was nice enough to post it up here. Do check me out on Whatnot. Great book show tomorrow. And are you part of Manfemera on Father's Day, Stuart? Or no? No. Well, I was going to hype his show, but now I'll just have to hype my own. 3:30 p.m. on Sunday, Manfemera, 1 hour of ephemera aimed at the man, which is kind of sexist, but what am I going to do? I didn't come up with the idea. I got outdoor stuff, baseball stuff, all that kind of things as well. So come on by. Should be a lot of fun for that. Do hit the like button and do subscribe or to the new membership. As I said, 22 videos back there. I'm going to keep dropping, as the cool kids say, new videos regularly. So I want to thank our guests. And at some point, they claim they would have us on. We'll see if that's true or not. Probably be too big to have us on pretty soon. But I want to thank them all for being here and hit the like button. We'll see you next show. You got to hit and show up there in the corner.
Thanks for having us, David.
Thank you so much.
Yep.